So the other day when I was out driving, I found this table, or what's left of the table, by the side of the road, and I decided to stop and check it out. And I think it has a lot of potential, and I really like the veneer inlay and the raised edges. It gives it a lot of character. So I decided to pick it up and let's see what I can do with it. So at the bottom of the legs there were some wheels, I think called the wheels, and I think they are in brass. So I put them in hot vinegar to remove the rust, the dirt, and we'll see how this comes out. The original base and the legs were kind of generic, and I wanted some more mid-century feel to it, so my plan here is to ditch the old base and replace it with new legs that has a little more mid-century feel to them. And this video is a part of the big mid-century modern challenge here on YouTube, and you can find all of the other videos in the playlist in the description. And I think there are a total of 13 channels who came along for this big challenge, so I highly recommend you to check all out. There's a lot of cool videos from the other channels. I'm using the scraper to remove the old finish from the tabletop, and this part with the inlay was a bit tricky, so I didn't want to ruin it, so I had to be gentle with the scraper. And this is how it looks after removing the finish with a scraper. And I saw that there was some gaps and some small veneer damages to the star. So I have to address that later. And the next step was to go over the top with a circular sander. And this part I sanded by hand. And I noticed that the veneer for this star was thin like a leaf. I don't think this table is from the 50s or 60s. It could be older. And I'm not sure what kind of wood they used to make this table. If you have any ideas, please comment. But anyway, I have to strip it from all the old stain and finish. After all the sanding, I still thought the tabletop was kind of blotchy and uneven. So I wet it down with some water to see how it would look. This would give you an idea how the table will look after you applied your stain or oil or finish. And as you can see, this tabletop needs some oxalic acid treatment because it's kind of blotchy and there's kind of some stains. And here you can see the damages to the veneer with some gaps and so on, so I have to fix that later on. Great tip is to heat the water before applying the oxalic crystals. It usually takes 1 or 2 hours for the oxalic acid to dry and bleach the wood, and I think most of the stains are actually gone. When you have really small veneer damages or gaps, this wood filler works perfect. And after it dries, you can sand it like it's regular wood. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I didn't like the original baser legs, so I decided to replace them. And unfortunately, I don't have any tools to create my own legs for this furniture. So this time around I bought these pre-made ones from Amazon, but I'm going to stain them so they match the top better. And this stain that I use is my go-to one, and it's teak, of course. And the most important thing is that the stain for the legs have to match the top. And here you can see the before and after. And it might be that I have to apply another layer of stain. We'll see when I have stained the top. And here I'm sanding the wood filler that has dried. And I think I did fill all the gaps. Here I'm applying the same stain as I used for the legs for the top, the sides of the top. And the weather here in Sweden changes between sun and rain every 50 minutes, so I'm glad for the sun. The wood on the top was incredibly dry, so I had to apply a big amount of stain, and it absorbed it like crazy. And now you can really see how beautiful the grain of the wood is, and I think the color this stain gives the wood is fantastic. And here I am comparing the legs that I stained earlier with the top so they will match, and my conclusion is that they need another layer of stain. So I'm quite pleased with this. I think they match perfectly. So the next step will be fixing the small cosmetic parts of the star that I filled with wood filler, and paint those in matching color. And here I am removing some parts of the original base for the table. I think the new legs with the angular tapered design will give this table a really mid-century look and feel. My first plan was to add some poly to this table, but I ended up using some satin spray lacquer instead. So I had an idea that I would reuse these wheels from the original table and use them for my new legs. But it turns out it's not brass, and I think the table will look better without them. I really hope you enjoy this video. My plan is to post more frequently, and if you want to support this channel, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing. You can also use super thanks and the buy me coffee link. Thank you so much for watching.